Okay, so I was wrong. We have like at least 3 more episodes left.
The thing is, the cops saw it, so they didn't even pull it.
Welcome back to the channel, guys. Thank you for clicking on the video. Like I was saying, I was wrong. I thought that we only were getting 5 more episodes. I'm thinking we're gonna get 10. I don't know. On my DVR, they have 2 episodes pending. So episode 6 and 7 is sitting there, waiting. But I don't know if the 7th day is the last day or we're gonna go all the way to 10 days. But either way, we still got a few more episodes left, and I'm excited because I thought for sure that this was the last one. Let's get into it. This is episode 5, the 5th day. So we start out, Grace is going in Sophia's room to wake her up. She pulling back curtains. Sophia don't want to get up though. She's telling her, you got to get up. What you doing? You're late. We got to get ready to, go downstairs for Mama's church service. And Sophia's just like, she's tired. She been up all night into the morning, going back and forth with trolls. So she tired. She say, I'll see y'all at brunch. And of course, Grace is like, no, not gonna happen. You're gonna get up right now and we gonna go on downstairs to the church service. Jacob and Carissa, they getting ready too. And Carissa coming there and she's like, are you, all set to talk to Zora after worship? And Jacob was like, I'm ready, more ready than I've ever been. And she's like, even though your mother, is completely against this, even though she told you not to. And he's like, psh, you listening to my mama now? Since when? Girl, this is happening. Whether you like it or not, it's happening. And she gonna say, oh yeah, go ahead, make jokes while you ruin your children's lives. Their lives are ruined. Girl, okay. Anyway, he gonna say, well, what was you and Fernando doing at his office all those hours? Were y'all looking at pictures of the kids? No, didn't think so. Girl, get on out of here with that. And so I mean, what can she say about that? They gonna tell Winky though at therapy. Next, we see Charity. She's leading praise and worship downstairs. She on the piano singing her nice worship song. Corinne standing there. I mean, everybody's at church. AJ done came to church. Everybody is there. And before May, goes into her sermon, Carissa start complaining because she's like, we have so much to be thankful for. And Carissa was like, do we? What? What do we have to be thankful for? And of course, we can't take Lady May out of her, out of her zone. So she's just like, we're not even gonna dwell on nothing because they wanted to talk about Calvary and all of that. We're not gonna dwell on the past. We're here for a service here today in the house, and let's just get to the word. While she's preaching or giving her preachy speech, Carissa is still, mumbling under her breath, and Bishop, takes her hand and he's like, listen, girl, you're gonna have to sit here, be thankful for what God gave you, and calm down. You're gonna need to settle down. And Jacob was like, I know. He turned around, you too, settle down. Y'all really with the mess this morning, and we trying to have church. May's message though, her message is new beginnings. And listen, I'm so glad we didn't have to sit through it. I thought they was gonna make us sit through her sermon. I'm so glad that they didn't. It's brunch now, and Zora and Sophia, they talking, about the pictures that has gotten out to her back. It's gotten to Hampton now. Now the people at school know. And so I mean, Zora is just like, I thought that he deleted it. What's going on? Sophia is talking, leaving school completely. While they're whispering, Charity and Corinne, come stepping over. What y'all whispering about? Oh, nothing. Just that church must have been a bore. Must have been a snooze fest without you doing praise and worship. That's all we talking about. And Charity's like, Okay, whatever. Um, Corinne, she been texting Nana because Nana is at she went to church. She went to Calvary and went to church. And because Sophia was like, well, I mean, why she didn't just come with you here if she's having such a boring time there? She could have just came on to church, over here at the house like everybody else is doing. And Corinne is like, well, Mama just wants to see it for the last time, but she is bored. They're going to tear it down too, and they're going to tear it down in 2 days. So they have 2 days to try to figure out, well, Grace and, everybody in on the plan. They have 2 days before they come in with the wrecking ball. Noah and Grace, they're talking, and he going to bring up, remember the first service at Calvary? And she's like, why would you bring that up? I don't want AJ knowing that he was conceived at a church, and I don't want everybody knowing that I lost my virginity in a church. So let's keep that. Let's just be quiet on that. And he's like, but I mean, it's the history. Please, Noah, please. Ain't nobody trying to reminisce about the very first time you ever made love. That was in my Betty Wright voice. I just told this man that I was doing this video and not to be talking loud on his conference calls. And there he go. Yap, yap, yap. I'm going to stay calm. Because I ain't starting over. So, this is a review from me and Tim since he loud mouthing up there. Bishop, he stops May on her way out the door because she going to go talk to Tara. He stops her, he's like, do you want me to come with you? Like, I can come with you. Do you want me to, because it's dangerous out there. And she's like, dangerous? Pray for her. Pray for the heifer that's trying to take my house. Because she the one you need to be worried about, not me. I'm going to be all right. She going to handle it. She say the Greenleaf men done already tried. Now let a Greenleaf woman come in and get it all straight. Bishop notices that AJ is, walking around the house. He's kind of like, perusing around, picking up pictures, doing that sort of thing. And Bishop is like, you ain't gonna eat? And he's like, well, I'm just waiting on the crowd to die down. While they're talking, here come Jacob and Carissa walking through the kitchen arguing. Carissa hollering at Jacob, why would you give him that when I told him no? Why would you do that? Why would you go against me like that? And they're just walking through. And Bishop and AJ just standing there looking like, damn. Trouble in paradise. And Bishop said, well, I mean, I don't understand, like, why they got all this family around, all this happiness around, and yet they still want to be miserable. And AJ says, I mean, some people like to break things apart. Some people like to put them back together. And Bishop was like, what you mean by that? And he got that from therapy when he was in the hospital. He says some people like to, tear things apart. Not necessarily like in a bad way, but some people just like to break things down so that they can build it back up again. And that gives Bishop an idea, and he's just like, come with me. May, she pulls up to where Tara is, and Tara is in the middle of giving groceries out to the needy. And we just see May sitting in her car watching her do that. She goes inside and she's making the small talk, looking around, picking stuff up. And she asks her, she's just like, well, I mean, you ain't never wanted to do nothing more? Because it's kind of, her establishment is a little rinky-dink. But so she's just like, you didn't want to do nothing different. You didn't want to do nothing more. And Tara's, because she's so saved. It's an act, y'all. But anyway, she's saying, well, I mean, I think of myself like Jesus. Jesus, didn't need no big old building. He didn't need all of those things. He just, the people came to him. So I would, I want that. I'm trying to go down that path as well. And May is like, but you trying to take my house. She's just like, I mean, I'm not trying to, but think of all the things that we could do with the church. Like we could build a women's shelter, a shelter for women and children, battered women, a rehab. Like, we could really do some things on that property. Which is why she, had a second thought, because all of the things that she could do there, and if there's any chance that that house was originally supposed to be left to her father, she has to see that through. She has to make sure that is indeed, her house. And if it is, she wants it. Bishop takes AJ to like this garage, and it's this big old crate, and he tells them that it's full of car parts. And they start talking about their favorite cars. AJ wanted a BMW with a drop top. Bishop talked about the car he wanted, as a young guy. And his father ended up getting him a car, said car that he wanted. I don't remember what the name of it, but he ended up getting him the car. And I want to say it's like a classic car. Like, one of them cars that you spend time working on, one of those. And he told him, well, my dad ended up giving me this instead, and I just never got around to rebuilding it. So if you help me build this car, if you help me put it together, then you can have it. It's yours. And AJ's like, word? But I don't really know how to put together no car. He's like, listen, we're going to do it together. And this is going to be your car. You can have it. I know it's not the BMW, but it's still a great car. AJ is very happy about that. Grace is talking to Noah in the room, and she, she basically tells him all of she fills him in on what she and Darius have been working on and what she's found about, Bob Whitmore and the H&H crew. And then she asked him, so how did the first night go with AJ? And he's just like, it was kind of awkward. He's 24, so I don't really feel like his dad. She thanks him for being there. He thanks her for letting him be there, and they have a little moment. He realizes that she's tired, and he's just like, lay your head on my pillow and just relax, relax, relax. She's like, I'm not laying my head on your pillow, Noah. It's not going down again. And he's like, I'm not trying to do that. I mean, listen, lay your head. Rest your head. You tired, girl. Rest easy. She obliges, of course, and lays on down, and he stroking her hair and everything. Noah trying to get back in good. Let me stay on track. Corinne, she ends up telling Charity, she's about to go to the church because she want to see it too. And she tells them that Judy and Phil, are down, at Calvary on the property taking selfies with the wrecking ball. Like, so they more than ready to tear that place down. But they want to see it one last time. Zora and Sophia are talking, and Zora is just telling Sophia, like, I don't want you to quit school. Don't give up on your dreams just because, one little picture, one little mistake. And she's like, listen, I don't even know if it was my dream. I just wanted to be out of here. I just wanted to be away from this house. So that's why I went to Hampton. But I ain't necessarily pressed about going back, especially now that all of this is going on with her. Now that, the people have seen her breastises. Charity ends up calling, nieces, come on over here. And they go over there and see what she wants. She, she got to make a call. So it's, can you guys, watch Nathan while I go and make this little phone call? And so they do. Sophia don't want to, but she gonna do it. Before Zora can get into babysitting mode, Carissa and Jacob come in there to come get her. Can we talk to you for a minute? And she's like, talk about what? I'm babysitting. Girl, it's important. Let's go. So she goes, and now Sophia is on baby duty. When they sit her down, she's just like, so it's not my fault. And she makes a joke, and they're like, nah, seriously, girl, we getting a divorce. So we just wanted to let you know. We wanted to, spring it on you easy. We taking Winky to therapy. We taking Winky to therapy tomorrow, and that's how we gonna break it to him. But we just wanted, to make you aware of the change that's about to happen in this family. And Zora is visibly upset. And she turns her anger on Jacob like it's all Jacob's fault. And Carissa is like, well, Zora, it's not all your father's fault. And she's like, oh, it ain't? Because she mentions the fact that her mom would cook meals and his food would sit there cold because he was out gallivanting with Alexa. And he's like, watch your mouth. She's like, I've been watching. I've been watching you for a long time. And I don't know why parents who cheat, I don't know why they feel like their kids don't know it. Your child knows exactly what you're doing when you gone especially if they are paying attention to their mom, and how she's reacting to things. I'm sure Zora knew right off the bat when daddy is coming home too late, they arguing. If you anything like me, I was eavesdropping. My daddy wasn't cheating, but I'm just saying, like, when my parents used to have little disagreements, they always went to their room and closed the door, and I was always like, ooh, Christopher, come here. That was always me. He was always, get away from their door. The oldest is always trying to follow the rules. Meanwhile, the youngest is a rebel with a cause. Because I ain't no rebel without one. I got a cause. And it's to get my way. Anyway, Bishop is still... No, wait. Let me back up. Oh, Charity ends up... not Charity. Zora ends up walking out of there. Because Carissa sort of takes accountability for what she did. She hints at it, and Zora just has to pick up on the context clues, and she storms out. But anyway, Charity makes her call, and she calls what was the name? Marcus Shabaz? No, it was Marcus DeMars. What's his Yusef Shabaz. That's Phil's dad. She ends up calling him, and when she mentions that she was almost Mrs. Charity DeMars, he's like, oh, you got about 2 minutes, go. Bishop is still talking to AJ, talking to him about the goodness of Jesus. Just mentoring him and guiding him and loving on him. And while they're talking, May walks in from her visit with Tara. Of course, now Bishop is like, well, what happened? What went down? Fill me in on the tea. And she's just like, we're going to have to get that girl to the house. Says who, her? No, saith the Lord. You really can't argue with that when people be like, the Lord said it. Part of me be like, he ain't said it to me. Which is what Bishop said. He ain't told me that. He ain't said it to me, so that's on you. He told you. He ain't said nothing to me, so I'm still going on doing what I'm doing. But she's adamant. No, until I hear from the Lord, we might have to give this woman the house. That's something. She's only feeling that way because that woman laid down all of what she want to do with the house, all of the shelter, all of this good work that she's doing in the community, and that it was almost like a guilt trip, because if somebody tells you have this you have the means to pick yourself back up, they have the means to buy a new home, to put themselves back on top, they can do that. They ain't hurting. But then you see somebody that is, she's working out of this little, I don't even know, like a little warehouse type of thing, or an old rec center. I don't know, but she could use a new building. She could use some more resources, but not on y'all's dime, because it turned out that Tara. Well, let me get there. Yeah, Jacob and Carissa. Nope, I already talked about that. See how I be getting back out of sync and all of that? Because, I'll look down at the note to see where I am. And then, I'll remember, okay, I remember that part. And I can just flow with it. And then it's like, ooh, what happened next? And then I have to be like, I just said all that. That's where we at. Sophia is still watching Nathan, and AJ is sitting with her, and he wants to know why she's, so upset, why she's so distraught. Let me go back. When Jacob and Carissa talked to Zora and told her everything, all of that. Afterwards, Carissa was still like, listen, I don't have to do this. I'll drop this now. But when we tell Winky, that's it. Ain't no coming back, because I'm not putting him through that for nothing. That was how she did it. And Jacob was like, okay, girl, I'm divorcing you. So you can continue to say that all you want. I am divorcing you. When Charity gets on the phone with Phil DeMars, nope. See how you can skip around? Let me back up. Sophia, still watching the baby. AJ is talking to her about, school and all that, because he wants to know what's going on with her. So, of course, she tells him about the pictures that leaked and all of that. Grace, she wakes up from her nap, and Noah is still sitting there with her, and, he tells her about this journal that could still potentially be down at the little cottage that he was staying in, that Zora is living in now, where there were, plans and builds for the estate. Like, the person, the old caretaker was, drawing up things and writing in his journal, and, like as if the property was about to be his or something like that, because he had plans for it. Both he and the owner at the time, Mrs. Davis, they're white people. Now, we make note of that because the person, the caretaker, was writing the journal, the Negro came by today. The Negro this, the Negro that. So they're assuming the Negro that they're speaking of is Daryl James. We don't know yet. And I don't even know what all of that is supposed to mean. Maybe the house wasn't left to Daryl James and it was supposed to be left to that caretaker, Daryl James. I don't know. Somebody is shady. Somebody has, plot and scheme to get that estate. They lied and forged some stuff. I don't know what or who. It's probably Mac. But we're going to find out what's going on with all of this. Now Charity is on the phone with... Nope. They don't show us that yet. Bishop. Bishop goes to Grace. Does he go to Grace? Yeah, he goes to Grace because he's like, listen, he interrupts Grace and Noah while they're talking about all of that and asks Grace basically for some money, because he's like, if we give her something, maybe this will go away. And she's like, how much you need? And he's like, how much you got? And I'm sorry about this, y'all. All this back and forth. I'm trying to keep up with my notes, but I don't want to be, up and down like I'm reading from it. Yeah, Grace, she just asked how much you need. So now Bishop about to find out about the millions Grace has come into from her biological father. Zora back at the cottage, she just break down crying. Of course, she's upset about her parents, about her family breaking up. Charity's on the phone with Mr. Shabaz. And she asked him about his wife, ex-wife, no, they didn't get a divorce. She just died. But his wife asked her about what she did for Eatonville Linden or what Eatonville Linden had done for her. And he didn't like that question because Pater does. I don't even know I forgot what he said, but he ended up hanging up on her the same way he hung up on Grace last week. So we still getting nowhere with Mr. Shabazz. Sophia still talking to AJ, and he's, still trying to convince her to stay in school. It's like, look at me. Like, you worried about your reputation and something following you and you having to walk around with that kind of shame. Think about me and what kind of shame I'm walking around with. And if I can do it, you can do it. So he gives her some good words of encouragement. I don't know if she's going to stay in school or not, but it was enough to put a little smile on her face. Because she want to stay home with him and Zora. And he's like, no, look at Jacob, Carissa, and Charity. Grown people their age should not still be staying home with their mama. So trust me, girl, you're doing the right thing. Go get your education, go to school, get up out of here if you can. Get a change of scenery. Zora is back at the house, and Grace comes by. She's not looking for Sophia, but she sees how upset Zora is, and Zora tells her, what she just found out. And of course, Grace is there for her niece, wipes her tears and tells her she's there for her. Of course, Zora is she kind of hard. She got a hard exterior. She ain't with, don't be trying to hug me. I'm good. I'll be all right. I'm good. I'll be all right. Meanwhile, she's sitting over there toe up and don't want nobody to hug her. She shows Grace where she can find that diary, and Grace goes and looks up under the bed. Sure enough, all of that stuff is in a box, and she looking at it. I don't know what none of it means, but she looking at it, and so she found what Noah was talking about. Bishop goes and tells May, that he asked Grace about the money, and she's like, no, we're not doing that. We're not using that money. Like, I done kept that secret from this family for 40 years, and I don't really want to drudge all that back up again, because it's going to be some questions about how y'all came into all these millions so fast. So, yeah, she's like, nah, we're not doing that. We just might have to get a lady to church. We just might have to do that. Bishop is still like, nah, that's not the option. And while they talking, May has like a Raven Baxter moment where she's just like, we giving her the house. I was like, girl, what was that? What was that? May is so extra. No, excuse me, not May. Lynn Whitfield is so extra. And I love it. Charity pops her head in, and she's just like, we're going over there to see the church for the last time. Y'all trying to ride? Y'all gonna slide? And May is like, well, maybe not. I've been through a lot today. Not today. Mom, we're not going to apologize. We're not going to, say goodbye. We're going to say thank you. All right, girl, let me get my purse. So everybody goes to the church. They walking through the church, reminiscing, and they got in because Charity didn't give back her key. But they're walking through, and they all end up in the sanctuary and on the at the pulpit, and they hold hands, standing in the line as a family, looking at Black Jesus. And Bishop is saying a nice word or two. He says a prayer, and then he leans over at May and tells her, you can go on and give her the house. And she's like, if Jesus says so. I mean, you keep saying that that's what we're supposed to be doing, and then turning around and saying, but we're going to wait and see what God. Did he say it or not, May? Because you keep making it seem like he done made it clear. So stop saying y'all going to do it if you waiting on a word from the Lord. Girl, please. May and Bishop go to see Tara, and they knock on her door, and Tara come to the door. Oh, I wasn't expecting y'all so soon. And guess who come waltzing out? Rochelle. I told y'all we was going to see Rochelle. I knew it. Rochelle come waltzing out, come sashaying out like Sunshine. And if you don't know who Sunshine is is from Harlem Nights. She the one with the good pocketbook that if you throw it in the air, it's going to turn into sunshine. Yeah. That's how she came out of that house. I done told you about these Greenleaf people. They'll show up. Like, she just talking her mess like she always do with her little metaphors and all of that crap. And they looking at her. And then look back at Tara. Yeah, girl, what's up? You gonna have to explain this. And she's standing there looking cheap. But I'm excited that this wasn't the end, because at first when it ended like this, I was like, that's it? We really got to have a sequel or something now, because what's going on? But come find out, we got a few more episodes to go. I'm excited, y'all. I am excited. But that was it for this episode of Greenleaf. We'll be back next week. Be sure to rate, comment, and subscribe to the channel. It's Call Me Busby, and I'll chat with you later. Peace and light.